Hello, everybody. Welcome to an episode of In My Opinion. My name is John.
My name is Lester.
And yes, today we're going to talk about slightly more depressing topic as compared to all our previous IMOs.
Yeah.
We want to talk about something that's a little bit more current also.
Yes, correct. I feel like we have been tiptoeing around this topic for a little while, but I think we have finally managed to take some time off not social media, but like take some time off reading all this like the craziness that's happened, and also take some time to like reflect and think about it or think about our own viewpoints. So we are finally ready to talk about it, and hopefully we'll be able to give you guys a bit more nuanced view to this topic on cancel culture.
Okay, perfect.
I think before we start, we do want to say that like even though this episode has been like inspired by the whole Xia Xue incident, we are going to try to refrain from talking about the incident in particular, even though we use it as an example once in a while. We do think that it's more productive for it to use this incident as springboard for a lot to like talk about a larger topic at hand or a larger theme at hand versus just like talking about this incident, because this incident will probably not happen again as it is. So we have to ask ourselves about the bigger questions lah.
Yeah, and I think I encourage you all to have this discussion with us in the comments. So once again, be respectful. We have a little bit of discussion. It's always great because I think a lot of times, right, when we talk about things like this, they're a little bit more sensitive to how some people feel and stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
There are blind spots, and it would be great if we could like discuss these blind spots because sometimes we don't realize. And enough waffling.
Yes.
Let's get into it.
Correct. So I think as I said, the whole big topic we are talking about today is cancel culture. And for the people who don't know about the whole Xia Xue incident, I'll actually link a Mothership article down below, and I'll also link a Xia Xue video on cancel culture down below as well, and you can see the response to that.
And down below you also will find the link to our Instagram, so please go and follow.
That's right. So so now I think we have to ask ourselves, first of all, how far is too far? So like cancel culture, I mean, I don't think there's I tried to Google just now. I don't think there's an official definition for cancel culture or what cancelling means. So I think we get to kind of define it ourselves now for this sake of this argument. So for the case of Xia Xue, there was a few things that the internet did, which is basically like call her out, ask her to apologize, and also talk to her clients to like drop her because like if they work with her, they'll be like kind of siding with her opinions, which are pretty shitty.
Yes.
So
yes.
How far do you think is too far?
Okay, I know this is a little bit touchy, but my opinion on this, right, is quite solid, quite solidified based on what I observe about other people. Okay.
Yeah.
I feel that cancel culture goes too far, right, when people take justice into their own hands and when they start to feel that like the punishment that a particular person receives, right, is like disproportionate to the quote unquote crime.
Yeah. Okay.
So like if we once again we refer to the more recent case, which is in the Xia Xue and whoever she was arguing against sort of incident, right?
Yeah.
What happens is that people feel that how come she can still be so cocky? How come she can still earn all these influencer dollars? And then that's where they take the action into their own hands, take the justice into their own hands. Then they're like, we're gonna make sure everyone like cancels you, that kind of thing. And then that's where I feel it gets a little bit too far.
Okay. But why? But okay, I'm just thinking from their perspective, right? Like if they really do believe,
they are as in who?
Or the people who are the detractors of Xia Xue, the people who believe that Xia Xue should be punished, etc. I was thinking from their perspective, like if they really believe that whatever Xia Xue did was shitty, which I think fair, I would think that like in their minds, the only way to get back at her is this. Because we can talk all we want, right? But in like as society has proven, like within a week or two or maybe a month max, everyone is going to forget about it. And Xia Xue is going to be able to live life exactly the way she is because she still will get clients no matter what.
Yeah.
So in their mind, that's the only way,
Okay, so this is where I feel you hit the nail on the head. Okay.
Yeah.
About what I think is problematic with cancel culture.
Okay.
Because and where I feel cancel culture goes too far.
Okay.
Cancel culture goes too far when people have the mindset that they want to get back at this person.
Okay.
right?
Okay.
So, like, in order for a member of society to function without leading it to go into anarchy, right? What holds society together in our judicial system? Okay, we take a step off the internet. We talk about the judicial system, right?
Yeah.
Is this cocktail of systems and procedures and interactions and laws, right, that keeps the fabric of society intact.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
You know that in Singapore, for example, if somebody punch you first, you cannot necessarily punch back because you will have to prove that it's self-defense, right?
Yes.
But in a place that is like the internet, right, where there are no laws governing this kind of ethics and this kind of actions and this kind of thing, right, the mere attitude to have I want to get back at her because she was not behaving in a way that I think was correct, right?
Yeah.
Is where cancel culture goes too far.
Okay.
Right? But that is not to say that calling out people's bad behavior, right, is not good. In fact, I feel that like just now when we were discussing a little bit, right, I feel that on the internet where everyone is more or less equal, okay, everyone's power is more or less equal, right?
Yeah.
Calling out people's bad behavior, especially, right, is our duty in a place with no system.
Okay.
But there is a difference here.
Yeah.
Between calling people out and cancelling people.
Okay, what's the difference?
Cancelling people is serving our own brand of mob justice on the internet, where we feel that like the punishment, the crime, right, the punishment deserving of the crime is like that, is this.
Yeah. Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
As opposed to when you call people out for their bad behavior. When you call people out for their bad behavior, as with real life, there are two possibilities that can happen. First one is, right, you give this person an opportunity to change their stance and change their mind.
Yes,
because you give this person to understand that, oh, maybe I did something wrong and maybe it was ignorance.
Correct. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
That's where you offer that. And the second thing, right, is that you can confirm whether this person is you know, you can sort of like understand this person's standpoint better also.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know? And even if you don't agree with it, right?
Yeah.
You offer an opposing opinion, you know? And then if this person does not take it, right, that's fine. That in itself will result in its own repercussions. But it is not fair for you to demand more punishment or to demand more on the head of this person.
Okay, but like
that's where I feel cancel culture goes too far.
But I do think, okay, what is the natural repercussions of a person being shitty? Let's say the person is being shitty. What's the natural thing?
And that's the thing here. You see,
Okay.
Just as how the real world is unprepared for COVID-19 as a pandemic, right?
Yeah.
We as a society of people, humans on the fucking internet, right, are unprepared for people behaving badly on the internet.
Yeah, I agree.
We are unprepared. You know? And we are so sorely unprepared that we are essentially cancel culture, okay? I akin this to lynch mob activity. So this is akin to how last time, right, people will like, they order a hit on someone, you know, because they don't like that person, or they bring their family members to go and gang fight this person. It is that lawless and it is that backward on the internet in terms of justice.
It's semi like the Salem witch trials.
It is exactly like the Salem witch trial. I give you an example of why it is the same. Okay, when we in real life last time, I don't know the exact history, but it's very clear cut. Someone accuses someone of being a witch.
Yeah.
That's the calling out, right? Now that accusation alone, right, will do this person no harm.
Yeah. Okay.
It's what comes after.
Is the death.
What comes after is when people decide that this witch deserves to die.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
Deserves to die. Some people have been merciful, like maybe they say, oh, we just exile this person from our village or whatever.
Yeah.
Right? That in itself is already overstepping the line. But people want blood. Right? That's the ugly part of cancel culture also. When there's blood in the water, people want more. So when someone gets called out like that, it's very easy to feed the fear, feed the zeal, and then what happened in Salem is that a lot of people lose their lives for no reason.
Okay.
These two things might might sound ridiculous when we put them side to side, because one is a loss of life, the other one is just internet things, right? But because our life is so intertwined with the internet now, right? And in principle, right, these two things are just a very clear example of how a mob deprives someone of something. Just that in Salem and in whatever lynch mob activity, right, what you deprive is the person's life.
Yes.
And that one is a heinous crime that's very obvious to us, very easy to see.
Yeah.
As compared to something that is on the internet, right? When someone misbehaves, right, the accusation and the calling out of bad behavior is something we absolutely must do. But where it must stop is the lynch activity that comes after.
Okay.
And that's where it goes too far. Because when you call for repercussions, that's fine.
Yeah.
But when you goad for more action, when you push for more punishment, when you push for more things to be done, right? That's when it gets too far.
Okay, but you
can say that, oh, because there's no system, that's why I have to make sure this person gets a proportionate punishment. Who's to say you are the authority on how much punishment this person should get? Who's to say how much cancelling this person should get?
Yeah. I think that's the biggest problem, because like we all, okay, I don't know about you, but like I agree. Do you agree that there should be some form of consequences?
Absolutely.
Okay.
There absolutely should be punishment for bad behavior, especially bad behavior from someone that is not repentant. That's a very clear fabric of society that we have established since ancient times.
Yes.
When someone do wrong, right, right,
yeah,
we offer justice, we serve justice and offer mercy.
Yes. So in
right?
this, okay, so in the cancel culture case, right, let's say you call someone out. You think that's the maximum that it should go? That's the maximum of the consequences that should happen.
That is the thing. And this is once again a very clear-cut indicator that the internet is not prepared for people with bad behavior, because that ought to be where we stop. It's like how in society, when we see something happen, we see a crime, what's the only thing we can do?
Report it to the police. Report
it to the authorities, and then the law will take action.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
We, as citizens, as members of part of this thing, this system, we cannot take the action. You know why we cannot? Because we don't live in anarchy anymore.
Okay.
And when we translate this to the internet, it's very clear to see that how backward the internet is when we have to deal with this, because there is no authority. The people justice is the authority.
Okay, but in this case, let's say the internet and bad behavior, right? Do you think that there should be an authority? Do you think that there should be like a legal system where people get punished for being shitty?
There absolutely should, but...
Oh, really?
Right?
Okay.
Yeah, but it's going to be super difficult. Because what we're going to be regulating here is something that even experts in your psychological field cannot properly define.
Yeah, because the definition of shitty is so iffy to begin with, really.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And this is how ill-prepared we are as humans on the internet to deal. And do you know that if the default answer for an unprepared bunch of people on the internet is to choose mob justice over second chances?
Yeah.
Do you know how dangerous that is?
I mean, people will just...
That's Salem.
Yeah.
That's Salem. But not with a loss of life anymore.
Okay.
And I think this is precisely what I mean by where cancel culture goes too far. You serve justice, but there is no mercy offered.
Okay. Let's say we take in account, let's say the Xia Xue incident, where it doesn't have to be Xia Xue lah, but like when someone calls
as in these kind of incidents on the internet, that's fine. It happens almost all the time.
Yeah, someone calls someone out, and that person denies it or brushes it off, or like basically do not want to apologize or repent. Then, in that case, since you have already given them a one chance to try, would that be does that warrant a bigger punishment than you already did? Because the calling out already did that already, and then they were like, "Fuck no." Like, screw you guys.
I think when something, I think this is a very good example that you bring up, because we have no real concrete answer, correct?
Yeah, correct.
Right. I think the best we can do as a peaceful society at this point, right?
Yeah.
Is that if this person denies the chance to be reformed, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
This person will be labeled as criminal, right?
Yes, correct. Yeah.
That's the default reaction, right?
Yeah.
And I know this is gonna sound crazy as shit, but I really, really think at this point, that's the max we can do.
Then there's no escalation of punishment.
Exactly.
Okay.
There is no escalation of punishment because there is no route for escalation. What is next? Right?
It will never
What
end.
is the next level of severity?
Yeah.
No one can answer. And what is one step down of severity?
No one can answer.
No one can answer because there is simply no system. And this is a very clear-cut understanding that instead of channeling our energy into destroying people, why don't we channel this energy into creating a system?
Actually, to be honest, I'm not very for the whole system thing.
Why?
There's something feels off about it.
No, then in that case, no, that's fine also. But in that case, right, then we must all have the understanding that if we want to have the Wild West, we cannot request rules on the Wild West.
But
right?
The rules don't go both ways. Does it? The fact that
it has to go both ways.
It goes both ways, what?
Yeah.
So if we take the example of the Wild West, right? Of course, they can do whatever the hell they want. So of course you can do illegal shit. But at the same time, when someone does illegal / shitty things, that person can just get shot because it's the Wild West. No one gives a shit. So
exactly. And if that's the kind of internet we want, right?
Yeah.
Then maybe that's not the best question. Is that the kind of internet we want?
Okay. So you think it's either the Wild West or a modernized society with a system?
I prefer a modernized society with a system. Why?
Okay.
Because we have moved away from the Wild West for a long time ago. Let me give you an example, okay? So I come back to the example of the Salem thing, okay? So if let's say someone is accused of being a witch, right? Yeah. Back then, the biggest crime, the toughest label to remove was witch.
Yeah.
What if on the flip side, there was a secondary label that was as heinous?
Okay.
Right? Let's just call it witch 2.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay.
So if this lady that was accused of being a witch, right?
Yeah.
About to be brought to the stake, accuses someone else of witch 2.
Yeah.
Baseless.
Yes.
In defense. Wild West style. Who's going to right that injustice? And then who's going to stop this witch 2, right, from calling out the witch 3?
Okay.
Nothing.
Yeah.
Right? And then this will devolve into a situation of, I'm more credible, so you listen to me.
Yeah.
And then this is an example of what? Of gang mentality.
Okay.
I am the head. You cannot doubt me. And then that's pure anarchy, what?
Okay.
And then you live every day watching your back, watching yourself, That's not what the internet is meant to be. And that's why I say we are meant for bigger things. And as a society, in a place with a lot of flawed judicial systems, a place with a lot of flawed human systems, right?
Yeah.
The onus is on us to make a place that has currently no system into one that has at least a flawed system. And right now, right, the system is trending towards what?
Towards what?
Towards lynch mob mentality, which is cancel culture. And is that fair? It's not. Okay. I'm going to say it out right now, okay? That when you choose to cancel people because of bad behavior, right?
Yeah.
It's not fair. It's justice, but it's not fair.
Okay. I do want to go back to the whole, whether there should be a system. Because I think that's a very big point before we talk about the cancel culture thing. I always had this saying in the past, whenever someone say that he or she doesn't want to give up an MRT seat.
Yeah.
Then he will say that it's my right to stay in the MRT as it is anyone else, what? So why do I have to give it up? You don't know my struggles. Why do I have to give it up? Correct? And I've always said this, you're not wrong. You're just an asshole. And that sums up basically what I feel about most actions nowadays. They're not wrong. They're just being shitheads. And I don't feel like shithead behavior should be punished legally.
It should not. But you see, this is a double-edged sword.
Yeah.
Right? Herein lies the difficulty. Why is a double-edged sword? On the one hand, right? People watch their behavior, right?
Yeah.
But on the other hand, people watch their behavior because they're scared.
Not because they actually understand why it's wrong.
Not because there is any incentive.
Okay.
So it's very clear. In fact, we always have this conversation. Sometimes when we decide to discuss a bit more controversial topics, right? You are the one that's worried that we receive hate comments or like people coming to cancel us or people coming to attack us in the comments, for example.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Why? Why should you be entitled to feel like that? In fact, right, you are a creator, right? Those people are people that their audience. More power to you, right? More power to you for your product. More power to us as creators, right? But why do we want to watch our back? If the reason is not because we want to be good people, but because we are afraid of the mob, then it's very clear cut that there is a mob. And do we live in a society? Do we want to live or have a place?
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Unfortunately, the internet has become a place, right?
Yeah.
Do we want to have a place that fears the mob? Does that sound like an advancement in society or humanity for you?
Correct.
Right? And like I mentioned, it's the same here. There is justice, but it isn't fair.
Actually, now that you put it this way, I think I understand what you're trying to say.
Yeah, and that's where I feel, right, cancel culture, right, is now put into this gigantic cloud term that has so many nuanced meanings and this giant Venn diagram that like seems to overlap a lot of things. When it gets too far, it's very clear. When it becomes mob mentality, that's when it gets too far. When it becomes lynching, that's when it gets too far. Because if we take this out of the context of the internet, okay, take this scenario out of the context of the internet.
Yeah.
Let's say someone offend me, someone behave badly, someone offend me. Right.
Yeah.
Someone calls my mom a nasty word, for example.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I take it to the streets. I paste posters everywhere. I garner the crowd, and then we get this person fired.
Yeah.
How crazy is that image when you see it on the streets? Does that look like anarchy?
Yeah. That doesn't sound very nice.
And that is what we are doing with cancel culture, you see. And that's when it gets too far. When someone calls you or whoever, your loved one, does an injustice against you, right? If you retaliate, right, like I mentioned earlier, the judicial system will need you to prove that you are doing it in self-defense because you have this understanding that the judicial system recognizes all these little actions as unlawful. And that's why I say there's a system that is needed here. Now, it's not so clear-cut anymore when it's on the internet because, like you mentioned, people being shitty, right? Why, I'm just being me, I'm just being shitty. What? Yeah, fair.
Yeah.
Right? Fair.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
That's just people being themselves. But on the flip side, right, if you want to be able to have this kind of shitty behavior, there are certain things that you give up. And same for having a system. When you have something that's a little bit more governed, means more freedoms are given up.
Yes.
But when you have something that is super free, right?
Yeah.
A lot of fairness is given up.
So you rather give up the freedom?
I rather give up some freedoms. And like I mentioned, you see, I may not have the perfect solution, but I think right now what we need as a society is internet that matches up as closely to what we accept as the best real life example.
I mean, in real life, technically, if someone's okay, let's say internet never existed and Xia Xue just said what she said, and people say, "Hey, that's wrong. Stop being shitty," and call out, and then she's like, "No, fuck you guys, no."
Yeah.
Technically, isn't what we are doing to her exactly what we would have done in real life if it happened in real life?
Yeah, that's the thing, you see. So in real life, right, when you pass this kind of like comments and then we back and forth and then you hit back, right? Those things are slanderous, and slanderous stuff, right, actually has a system.
Oh, slander? Yeah, okay, that's true. Actually, right? Can they be charged for slander, actually, those people who call out Xia Xue?
I don't know enough about the judicial system to mention this kind of thing, but slanderous comments in real life has a system. So this is the same thing on the internet, you see. It ought to be the same, right? It is my right to exercise the legal system to decide whether you are slanderous or not. But the problem with the internet is that in order for it to be free the way it is, right, this judicial power, this justice power, is democracy, right?
Yes.
Majority vote.
Yep.
And there's nothing wrong with that,
Yeah.
right?
Of course.
Like I mentioned, justice will still be served because we are a species that is good at serving justice. But
yeah, I agree.
it will not be fair and it will not be merciful. And then what happens is that this username becomes the target while everyone forgets about the person. This label becomes the target and this dehumanized person takes the brunt of it. Right? And that's where it gets too far. Repercussions are fine. In fact, I feel that repercussions, consequence as a result of bad behavior, right, is how society functions. It's how society holds it together.
So you do think that whatever happened to, let's say, I sorry we keep going back to Xia Xue, but it's like the most poignant example right now. Yeah. So let's say you go back to Xia Xue, you feel that whatever happened to Xia Xue was not natural. It was a lynch mob.
No. That unfortunately, the lynch mob action is the natural action.
Exactly. Yeah.
And that is where I feel it's not fair.
Okay.
To let things just let things take its natural course. Let me give you an example of other example of why I feel it's not fair. So the thing about this whole Xia Xue thing is that people, other influencers or people like that, right, have been contacted by people on the internet. They say that, hey, I noticed that you also follow Xia Xue. Does that mean you echo her sentiment?
Oh boy.
And that's where it's not fair. Because this is a very clear lynch mob gang by association you are evil type of mindset.
Yeah, I agree.
And this is where the anarchy is problematic also. How can you by association call someone else out with an equal standing, right, as being a bad guy? You can't. You can't by association call someone out like that in real life, right? If you want to call someone out by association, you put that person through the system as well.
So you would say it's akin to, like, let's say this guy A did something shitty to you. Then guy A and guy B are friends. Then because guy A was a shitty person to you, you assume guy B is a shitty person also.
Yes.
And that's not fair.
And that's not, how is that fair?
Yeah, that's not fair. Yeah, that's just straight up not fair.
That's absolutely not fair. That's how the gangs used to operate last time. You know, last time, my grandfather used to tell me this story, that last time, right, in order to overcome some difficulty, right, he had a friend who borrowed money from gangsters, right? So my grandfather naively said that, like, I'll go and talk to this gangster with you together. We'll be in the coffee shop together. I'm there with you, chill, right? That kind of typical shit.
Your gangster, your grandpa, what a gangster. Yeah.
The gangster not happy.
Yeah.
The settlement went sour. They take out parang and chop who?
Everyone, both are.
Everyone.
Okay, I get what I mean.
Right?
Yeah.
And then the only way they could make it to the hospital without implicating anyone else. Do you know what's the only way they could do that?
No.
They cannot just ask someone with a car to send. They can only take taxi because they want neutral.
Oh.
You see, these are the things we don't think about anymore.
Actually, that's quite true.
Right?
Yeah.
Why are these the things that we don't think about anymore? Because the justice and the power don't lie with the gangs anymore. The justice and the power is returned to the people, but acted upon by the system.
That's true.
And this is where it's problematic. Because when you give the power back to the people without a system, right, who's to stop those from abusing the power?
Okay.
On
actually,
both ends of the spectrum, right? Nothing to stop the bad behavior, but there's also nothing to stop the abuse of power. And power on the internet shifts super fast.
Yeah, I agree. But I do think that, like, a large number of Singaporeans, maybe especially now, ever since, like, the whole NUS incidents, is that like, people don't trust the system anymore.
You bring up a great point here because you see, right, if people don't trust the system, right, people's immediate behavior come out. And that's where you say about natural. What's the first thing that they want to do?
Take things in your own hands, vigilante.
They want to get back at that person, right?
Yeah.
Like this person did it. When I'm pretty sure some of these people have not seen this guy's face before.
I have no idea how he looks like. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
When if we as a civilized society that has benefited from this system, right?
Yeah.
The action should be very clear. We target the system. Why? We surrender our power to be acted upon by the system, but the system is the one that failed us.
Yes. Okay.
Justice was not served properly. But where is the power? The power is not with that guy, and the power is not with us. The
Mm.
power is surrendered to the system. And in this particular judicial problem, it's surrendered to the state, right?
Yes.
So
yes.
if you want to work this case better where this person deserves more justice, which I of my personal opinion, I feel he should.
Yeah.
Because the punishment is not proportionate to the crime.
Yeah.
We need to take it to the system to see that he receives a better punishment from the system. Not,
Mm.
you know?
Yeah.
So we should be targeting to change the system.
Mm.
We should be targeting the this one wrong, this one wrong, this one wrong, but nothing wrong with this guy and nothing wrong with this girl. That sounds crazy to say, but there's nothing wrong with this guy, nothing wrong with this girl.
Yeah.
What has failed here is the system.
Mm.
The system has failed the victim.
Yeah.
And as discerning people who are part of the system, they have surrendered some of our powers to this system to make the system even powerful in the first place, right? We ought to reconsider the system.
Yeah.
And this is how society has to work.
Mm.
It's like, I give you an example. Someone bully you in school. Someone bully you.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Injustice. You're not happy. Crazy
Correct.
shit. You tell
Yeah.
the discipline master.
Yeah. Yeah.
Why do you tell the discipline master? Because the discipline master holds the power,
Mm.
right? And who gave the discipline master that power? Who gave the discipline master that power? You.
Mm.
You gave the discipline master that power by making him discipline master. And then the bully lie so convincingly that the discipline master believe.
Okay. Yeah.
What happens next? What happens next? Right?
Mm.
One of two things can possibly happen. No, actually one of three.
Okay.
First one, you do nothing.
Yeah.
You suck thumb. System sucks. Life sucks. It's like that.
Yes.
Second thing, you punch the kid back. You get back at the kid.
Yeah.
Last thing, which is very unlikely and then also a little bit nuanced, you reappeal to the discipline master.
Yeah.
To try to reopen this case because it's an injustice. A lot of times, if it's put in a kid context, that one would be parents' letter, for example.
Mm.
Which is also not fair because you send parent letter is you play another card. But
Okay.
let's just say
That's
parents'
beside the
letter
point. Yeah,
is the third
okay.
option.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Which do you think has the best outcome?
I mean, the third option would be the best lah.
The third option will be the best. But then again, okay,
Yeah.
in this very interesting scenario, it is also hard to say.
Okay.
Right? And this is how we know that a system, even though it sounds clear-cut from a third point of view, right,
Mm-hmm.
it's also very flawed.
Yeah. Actually, either.
But the mere fact that the internet even lacks these three choices means what?
Okay. So what you're saying is that it's not that the system is the be all and end all of solutions.
It's not. It definitely is not. Systems are flawed because they're human systems.
Yeah. Let's say someone entrusts. This is just a bonus question since you have a bit of time. If someone entrusts you to write these guidelines, what would the punishments be, in your opinion?
Personally,
yeah,
I cannot provide that answer. And I will give up this right to write the guidelines because I cannot.
Okay. So in your opinion, who should be able to write this?
There should be as many contributors as possible. Because of the democratization of power, the new system should be created out of democracy. And by the mere fact of the internet being open space that can communicate, that can send votes and communications in an instant, for example.
Yeah.
Right, as compared to like a physical poll, elections poll or whatever, right?
Mm-hmm.
As compared to just electing a candidate for them to debate in parliament, right?
Yeah.
If we're able to establish this system using the powers of the internet, right, it ought to be done in a democratic way. No one person or no bunch of people should be the authority of the internet.
Okay, but I now that I think about it, right, I do know that, let's say you have, okay, in Korea, I'm not sure about Singapore, but in Korea, there are celebrities who actually sue the haters for hate comments. So people who write hate comments, they can actually sue them for causing.
So you see,
issues.
right, like this is a very clear sign that the internet is still very young.
Yeah.
It grew bigger faster than it grew older.
Yeah.
And as a result of that, right, a lot of these things are underdeveloped.
Yes. Okay.
There's no real way. It's still a very proto-internet experience, proto-human experience.
It's still the Wild West.
It is still the Wild West. While
Mm.
at the same time, there are people demanding for justice. But when you demand justice in the Wild West, what kind of justice is there in the Wild West? The mere fact that we can make games like Red Dead Redemption is very clear that there's no justice. It's the lawless world.
Yes.
The justice comes from whoever owns the gun and shoots first.
Mm.
Bad people get away with bad things in the Wild West. Why? Because the gun is bigger.
Mm.
Corrupt officials get away with corruption. Why? Because their gun is bigger.
Yeah. Similar in the
And this is
internet.
two ends of the spectrum, right?
Yeah.
One is a good guy gone rogue, and one is a bad guy just doing bad things.
Yes.
Are they both bad? Yes. Who suffers? The people in between.
Yeah, actually that's a very actually now that you have like you gave an analogy to the Wild West, right? I do think that a lot of things have been a lot clearer in terms of my opinion. Yeah, actually I can't here's the thing, I can't actually see a situation where there will be a system. Or I can't see a guideline, or I can't see a world where we live where the internet is governed by a set of laws and rules.
I mean, okay, I believe in the goodness of the people once again. Once again, I'm super idealistic, right? But I believe in order for that to happen, there must be a crisis. There must be a crisis big enough, right?
For people to go like,
that
hey,
forces real life legislation to take real life action in the internet. I'll give you an example.
Yeah.
So just now I was talking about COVID-19, right? And how pandemic movies, all that kind of thing used to be a Hollywood scenario.
Yes.
But look at us now. Right? Just as how the world is unprepared for a real life pandemic, the internet is unprepared for bad behavior, for a transition from the Wild West to system. Right?
Okay.
Suddenly, don't you realize that suddenly in these few years, right? Suddenly all these bad behavior things are starting to surface. When last time Wild West, right? Wild West, even wilder, right? Back in the day, even wilder, bad behavior is obviously given a free pass.
Yes.
But you see, this is why I say I believe in the goodness of the people, because it's obviously improving. It's obviously moving somewhere. It's just that we don't want it to move. We don't want it to make the mistakes that we have already made before.
Yes. Okay.
Right? We don't want to have to go through the whole 9 yards for what?
Yeah. We already
right?
know
Where
what's
we
gonna
can
happen,
just
right?
speed it up to come to what we're already familiar with and what we already know works. But the problem is, okay, when people are spending time fighting each other, right, they don't have time to think about solving problems together. And that's why I say we need a crisis.
That's
it's like how we jokingly mentioned that, like, I mean, it's like how we jokingly mentioned that if aliens invaded tomorrow, suddenly the whole world will unite, right?
Correct. Yeah. Actually, like, you guys don't see this, but like every time before we shoot, we always talk to each other about and get a feeling about each other's opinions about the topic first. And at the end, right, we always come to the same conclusion, which is aliens need to attack us. And we all need to just band together for once, because now the world is very polarized. But yeah, I think there's a great way to end it, actually, because I feel like there's a lot to think about.
Yeah, but at the same time, you know, before we go, I also want to encourage whoever is watching that if you disagree with anything that we say, I would like to hear what you think. Because the thing about it is that we don't want to become an echo chamber whereby we just think about one thing and then we just, I don't claim to know everything. In fact, like I mentioned earlier, if given the right to write the rules, I will not want to do that because I know I'm not fully discerning.
Yes, correct.
But at the same time, right, I hope that we also try to encourage an internet that's a little bit more open-minded, that's willing to understand that some of these things are very difficult to accept. But unfortunately, that is the world we live in if we don't want chaos. And that's why we want to share with you all in this podcast.
Yeah, actually, you guys have been really nice. I've been reading the comments and replying to most of you guys. So like, I'll say, like, if you have any opinions, continue to share it with us in the nice intellectual and amazing way that you guys have been doing. And
because honestly speaking, when we have these type of discussions, we show to the world what the internet can be.
Yes,
that's what the internet can be.
Correct.
And isn't it great that the internet can be just like that, glimpsed? The greatness of the internet can be glimpsed through the comment section just like that.
Yes. And
that's what I'm saying, man.
Yeah, I think there are a lot of nuggets of like thoughts and like questions that we left this episode with. I don't think that maybe you can revisit this question and this episode as time goes by. I'm quite sure there'll be more incidents that will continue to further refine our opinions and our thoughts. But I do hope that this episode got you guys thinking, as it did me as well. So with that, thank you so much for watching, guys.
Peace out. Stay safe. Wear mask. Wash hand.
Follow us on Instagram. and
Follow
subscribe.
me on Instagram also.
Mainly us.
Bye, guys.
Mainly John. Don't need anything else. But yes.
Bye, guys.
Bye. See you next week.